This episode of Super Pulp Science is brought to you by Gear and Sea, the brand new young adult fantasy novel in the Silent Guardian series. Story by Justin Curry, Gregory Kamichuk, and written by Claire C. Marshall. The book will be available April 2019 and pre-orders will open in March.
Attention, citizens! It's time for Super Pulp Science!
This is Super Pulp Science, where I take back my podcast. I've been away for a week, and Sam and Justin tried to take this away from me.
It's funny how you say tried, because we did.
We did. We really did.
Your absence left a gaping, vulnerable hole, and we shoved our voices into it.
And I can't wait till the numbers come in, and we find out that the most listened to podcast was the one that Gregory was not at.
The numbers.
Oh my
The
gosh.
numbers.
Did you promo it on your...
I did not. I should have.
You should
I
have. That's
did.
how you would have.
Do you ever promo anything?
Yeah,
and
every
I
once in a
ask
while.
you to?
Okay. This is what we're going to talk about today on Super Pulp Science. Dear listeners, sorry we ignored that you're present here too for a moment while we squabbled. But, Sam, let's have a
Yes.
discussion about how best to leverage Justin's social media in a positive way for things that he wants to do. I feel like he accidentally has a huge social media following
There's
that he
no
does not.
accidents.
That he doesn't. That he
That
doesn't.
he did no work to build.
Yeah, no, he
in
works
any
hard
way.
at. He works hard at giving people his
Sure.
work. But I also feel like you have a platform that you don't use very often. So I want to know why.
I think it probably comes down to your time. You're too busy making the art to be blorping on social media.
That's what I tell myself. I think about this from time to time because I see there's different artists have different styles with this kind of thing. There's people that I follow that have, 700,000 followers and they don't post anything except when a piece is finished.
Right.
And then there's other people who have the equal amount of followers and are posting once every 2 days, whether it's a sketch, their dog, their breakfast, then a new piece, but they're always kind of peppering people. Mm-hmm. I don't really want to be that, and I am that person every once in a while. For like a week or two, I'll be really on top of my posts, and I'll be posting a lot of things, and then I'll disappear for 3 weeks, and I'll come back with a new piece.
Right.
And then for the next couple months, I'll only be posting when a new piece is done.
See, and to give our dear listeners some context is why I'm asking about this is the last time I checked Justin's, just we'll use his Instagram as an example. The last time I checked, he had around 10.1 thousand followers. And today, this morning as I check it, he has 13.6 thousand followers. So in the time that I last checked, he gained more followers than I have on my social media accounts.
Oh.
Right? And so this is not a sour grapes thing. This is like sometimes when you do stuff on social media, it hits what people want and it spreads as a result of people liking it. And so that's amazing. So you end up with this platform. Mm-hmm. My question is, and I've been seeing a lot of stuff going on. Comic book land is very divided. If you're a member of Comic Book Land, you see all the Comicsgate stuff going on. You know what's going on. Is there a responsibility to use that platform for something other than just sharing a picture of your next piece of art? Do we have a responsibility?
Do you feel
I don't
like,
actually have a good answer for this.
do you want
PS.
people to feel like they know you as a person as well? Like, do you think you should be posting stuff about your personal life and personal opinions and here's what I did for breakfast today and stuff like that? Like, do you want people to know you or do you want them just to see your art?
Yeah, that's my question.
That's
I
your
mean,
question?
That also depends on
part of my question.
because who you are on social media has to be part of your brand.
It does.
And being overshary can be an extreme detriment, especially when it comes to. There's a fan going, and it's ruining the foley of our.
Dear listeners, we are on the 7th floor of a building downtown, and it's an older building in the Exchange of Winnipeg, and it's got a lot of character. It's got these great wood floors and wooden beams, and just everything is old wood, and I love the look of it. And it is heated by old rads.
It's hot as balls in here right now.
I don't know if everybody knows what a rad is. It's a big metal coil thing that sits in the room and
Filled
is
with hot water.
filled with hot water, and it just heats up
Blasting
and blasts
wet,
heat.
hot air
Yeah.
in here.
But because it's an older building and because we're on the top floor, we don't necessarily have full control. So if the rest of the building wants to be heated, we need to be super heated. So
That
it's a
is
little
extra.
warm in the studio, which is nice because it's awfully cold outside right now.
Yeah.
Dear listener, that has been your temperature report. But as far as, let's get back to, we're just so distracted.
I think some people aren't, they don't filter their posts enough. They just kind of post whatever pops into their mind. And I'm
it
always
has to be a strategy. You have
Does
to
it,
really
though? Some
approach it
people
as a
just seem to-
strategy.
I don't
You
like
don't
that.
have a strategy.
I don't. Well, I post when the picture's done. That's
Yeah.
my strategy.
That's what I'm saying.
I will show you something when
Right.
I've done my work.
And
I
I guess
know,
I
but-
guess what is being motivated by this is that I think you see all these posts all the time about like how you can get more followers, how you can get more things. You just have to ignore all that nonsense because there's no real
kind of- a
system
lot of it's
that will
BS.
work.
Yeah,
it's
because
totally
we
BS.
know people who follow every single rule of
Yeah.
that.
Makes no difference.
Makes no difference.
I mean,
the-
sure, it's a lot of BS, but you have this audience. You have this.
That's
this
what I'm
large
getting at.
Audience that you could leverage in a responsible, manageable way to direct to things. So when I am constantly on you, like, hey, we have a workshop that everyone tried to deflect when I tried to promote it on this podcast.
Oh, yeah, that was a funny day.
And I was like, you guys really need to share it to your social media. And it did not happen. But I
So-
feel that it could have directed more people to stuff that you're doing and also help continue to
Yeah, so tying the thread
contain
of a few things
consistency of your brand.
we've said so far is that there's no real way to know for sure how it is that you might find your audience. Just the way a book finds an audience, sometimes runaway bestseller, sometimes a book that's equally well written or good or entertaining doesn't find that audience for whatever reason. We're not in charge of that. You're not in charge of that either, dear listener. But should lightning strike and all of those people show up, my question is, or my questions that arise are, is there a responsibility to those people in a way that is beyond entertainment? Or if they just showed up for strictly entertainment, should you just shut your political yap and only give them what they showed up for? Yet the flip side of it for me is that art is intrinsically political, right? Even if we were going to boil it down to its base level, Justin's compositional elements are big versus small, right? There is a message in there that people are connecting to because people often feel less than the problems that are presented to them, and I think that goes a long way for why people connect to your work. And so if that's already in there, right, do you have a responsibility to do more for those people, for that huddled masses in the corners of the internet, lit by the pale light of their iPhones, hoping
I'm a
that
bigger
someone will
fan-
just show them the way, Justin?
I'm a bigger fan of what does it mean to you, and whatever it means to you, that's fine. I'm not going to tell you what it means. I want you to have your own meaning behind it. I don't. Yeah, spelling things out, spelling out what the art means.
Right.
Not a fan.
What's wrong with having it good for a change? And they're going to let us have it good if we just help them. They're going to leave us alone. Let us make some money.
I think I post once, maybe twice a week on, usually about once a week right now because it is my kind of less busy time, I guess. But what about you guys? How often do you post and what do those posts look like?
I use my social media kind of like a record of positive things that are occurring.
A bit of a diary as well,
Yeah,
right?
a bit of a diary, and I kind of feel like for the first time in human history, I have a way to pass an actual visual and written account of some cool stuff that's going on in your life to whoever comes after. Now I have kids. One day they'll look at that and they'll be like, "Oh my God, I didn't know Dad went to Vancouver," or "I didn't know he went to Calgary and got chased off by security climbing that thing."
That happened.
Right?
Leaving
As an adult
Finn.
male. Wow, didn't know my father, right? I want, you imagine those moments. I think that's part of it. But it feels a little bit like we are right now, Sam, you and I, collectively. There's that scene in Gladiator where I think it's Marcus Aurelius shows up and he's like, "We need you to be protector of Rome, when I die." And you're the gladiator and you're like, "No, I don't want to." This is why it must be you. Because you don't feel like, you don't have this like inflated ego related to what this platform should be for. I feel like that's why
You make it
should
sound
use
like I'm
more.
a big deal, but really I'm still a very small fish in a very big
just to
pond.
kind of bring it back so it doesn't sound like I'm just like hammering your skull about this. It's that I've seen your social media and I've seen the response that people have, and they want to get to know you, but you also want to put a bit of a wall. Like where you're not just like, here's my lunch, here's what I think about all these things that are happening in the world. I know it's more for you. It's about, this is the art, this is who I am as an artist, and you can interact with it as you will. I just feel that there are ways that you could be, and I'm saying this from a business perspective, like pointing people towards where they can get your prints when you're not at a show, giving more notice of where you're going to be at events so that people can get in touch with you and meet you and buy things from you that are signed and you have that experience. But also, in that same token, I don't want to go out there and encourage you to overdo it so that you're super overtaxed by people who are constantly like, nah, what's new? Tell me about your life. Because no one wants that either. Because then that can tax you on wanting to share anything at all. And it is a balance. And also, again, you use your social media very well. We're not, we're going to dial it back as you're...
Well, there's a thing that happens, and I don't know if it's by accident or by design, but I guess part of it is by design. You share... You don't tell people what they're supposed to think about it, but you do share on multiple platforms as soon as you're done as part of your, really it takes you 5 or maybe 10 minutes, but you go, what are the places that you make sure your work goes?
So my finish line of the piece, and I've changed up my posting a little bit lately. In the last couple months, I've been taking screenshots of my process along the way. So I'm not just posting the finished piece, but I'm posting almost like a time lapse of like the first 10 minutes and every couple of hours how it works. And so I've kind of been explaining my process a little bit more and just showing people, how it looks when it's all spread out. But when I'm done a piece, I post it I've got Instagram, which I also post my Twitter, but I'm not very active on Twitter. And then I have Facebook, I have ArtStation, I have DeviantArt, and I've recently been posting to Imager as well, which is kind of the sister site to Reddit. It's a very busy place on the internet, and things can go viral there. And that's been every once in a while something will really click on there, and I'll end up on the front page of Reddit for an evening,
right,
which I think has been great.
Yeah. So it is in a way. So maybe we're thinking about it wrong-headedly.
I think we're also thinking about it as using social media as writers is also different than using it as an artist.
That's true.
But you kind of cross into those two different worlds, though, because you're a writer and an artist as well.
And I've been wondering why I don't share more widely the images that I'm making. It's an interesting,
Yeah, because usually in comics you're prevented from doing that. With
there's
non-disclosure agreements, and you don't have that.
When I'm working with, like when I was doing stuff for Apocrypha, like doing the Baby Metal book, couldn't post anything while it was in process. But when I'm working on anything that's creator-owned or any of the stuff from Portage and Maine, they said, yeah, sure, share whatever you want, any of the process. I get into this headspace that if I share too much of it, it's like spoiling the story, but I think what I need to do is get out of that mindset, because the two are not this. It's not the same experience, right? Like someone who's tuning in to see something get made, and someone who wants the finished product. And I'm, maybe it's the dinosaur brain. Like a brontosaurus's brain is just so far away from the rest of its body. I'm feeling that now. Like it's finally reached me. Some signals has finally reached the important parts that have told me that. What you're doing in social media, showing people how to make things, is different than the finished product, and that's fine. Just the way you, Gregory, listen to podcasts and watch videos about how people make stuff, and then you still go buy the final thing, not feeling like it's spoiled. It's taken me a long time to realize that.
Hard to remove yourself from that project and see it from somebody's perspective. Like if you are dripping and showing the process of that book, even if you're showing a lot of it, I'm not necessarily seeing all that. I'm only seeing like bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah, and with the new algorithm, it's like 7% of something of your posts or what your followers see. Like, yeah.
Wow. And by the time the book actually comes out, I'll probably have forgotten most of it. So,
But also your excitement has been built up.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, this looks great, and I can't wait to actually hold it in my hand as a
Right.
finished product. And you feel as an audience like a participant in that process.
Yeah, totally.
And you feel like you were part of it.
Okay, so be my social media, no, my art guru, not social media in general, but when you're saying like, I want to share more widely, what are some places, you know the kind of work that I do, what are some places that you think? Do you think Imager is a place I should go and post a whole bunch?
I think
just
with
because the traffic's there?
any online community, you kind of have to participate in the community if you want to get something back. So I think like early on when like DeviantArt was kind of the thing, I feel like I started to get traction when I had a bunch of posts and when I was commenting and going around and participating, right? Is kind of, and same with the Imager site, like the first 50 posts that I posted, I don't think anything really got any traction,
Right.
but it's now that I've been there for a while.
For a while,
I don't know, you have to build that up.
And I think people are hoping that social media will become like a silver bullet for them rather than like any other media, something that you have to work at and build into. You know, like it's taken me, I was putting my Pachachka slides together and I was putting together a bunch of book covers of like things I've worked on. And as I was doing it, I was like, oh, wow, there's a lot of stuff there.
And I think that's probably something I would say about what you should do is more posts about like a collection of pieces. So here are all the book covers I've done. Here are all the classic monster pieces I have. Here are all my propaganda pieces.
Yeah, interesting.
Not just post one, but post
Like a
clumps
whole
of
series,
them,
yeah.
albums of
Yeah,
them.
well, and what I was going to say about that is I feel like I'm just getting started, right? So when I was putting this presentation together and I'm putting like, okay, well, I'll put on some of my recent work up, I realized like there's actually a fair amount there, even though it feels like I'm just getting started. So when people who have heard of me for the first time now, it's kind of like...
All of your old stuff is new to them.
Yeah, and it's like your post going viral for the first time after 50 posts, right? Like you're there, you're present, you're doing it, and then suddenly people notice.
I've got one that can see.
The other way to really build a following really quickly is when other people share your stuff.
Right.
But, you know, how do you go about doing that? You don't want to direct message, the big movie poster guys and say,
Right.
like, look at what I've done. You should share this, right? Because nobody wants to get that.
Yeah. Nor will they... Like, how
like-
would you respond if someone sent you that message,
I would
right?
probably not respond.
Yeah, right. It just feels so...
I mean, also the
Icky.
balance is, and Justin, you talked about this, is that there are some people out there who are just constantly pepper spraying on their own social media about themselves and literally talking about nothing else. They're not talking about their influences, about other artists that they follow. They're not interacting with the community in any way. They're not even talking to the fans who are talking to them. They're just like, here I am, I'm great. And blah, 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 blah. And they're like just... There's never any kind of
Yeah, that's how I'm
community
afraid
engagement.
of looking on social
and
media.
that's
Yeah.
what like platform like Twitter, that's
Yeah.
what that is for. Or if you're if you have a Facebook and you have a ton of engagement, but Twitter is a place that I found personally where I've just had conversations with people where people have reached out to me about writing, and those
Yeah.
are way more important than me being like, and I'm an author, blah.
Yeah.
It's and it's those people that actually convert to coming to my events or coming to my signings or coming to meet me at a conference, that they just found me on Twitter or they chatted
the
with me
actual
on
social
Twitter.
side of social media that's occurring.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are a ton of communities that build up around hashtags, like the writing community hashtag, and you follow those and you interact with them enough, then you see more of those posts in your feed, and then it's a feedback loop of you actually showing that you are a person on social media and you're not just a billboard for everything
Right.
that you're doing,
Yeah.
which is also quite important. That's how consistency is key. Like Justin said, he was posting on Imager for super long before he gained this kind of traction.
I got sick of other people posting my stuff.
Right.
That's how I always saw it, was other people posting it. So
And it's true. Your stuff was being stolen for other people's accounts for a regular amount of time. Which, P.S., dear listener, on the internet, people who are creating clickbait sites and just clickbait accounts, they just want views, will comb the internet looking for good content, post it on their site,
And have no credit.
and put no credit. So that's just part of being online. So don't get mad. It will happen. And if
But
it
do
happens,
point it out.
Yeah.
If you, this is our call to arms to all of you listening out there. If you see on anywhere on a social media site, on a t-shirt site, on Imager, and you see that A, there is no credit, and B, you recognize the art, it is vastly important that you comment with the power that the internet has given you and social media has given you that this is the artist and this is their credit. It's also very easy to find the artist if you don't know it by doing reverse Google image search. Very, very easy. And immediately, usually, a lot of other people will notice it as well and will also comment. And it has been the reason that either credit has been given, the art has been taken down, or the artist has actually been found and paid. Because sometimes big companies either don't know any better, they aren't really doing it maliciously, but they are being stupid because the internet's been around for so long now. Yeah. So it does help when you point it out. Just wanted to put that out there.
Get that sauce in there.
Internet responsibly, people.
How do we feel about watermarks, fellow artists?
I hate them.
I do too.
Yeah, I hate them.
But
they're necessary.
I hate them, but now they've become necessary.
Yeah.
Yep. And because of that, to me, they don't bother me as much as maybe they did a while ago.
Okay, so for the dear listener, a watermark is just, a giant ghosty version of your logo.
It doesn't have to be giant, like something in the corner, but then
usually it's like has to be integrated into the art, like over it, so that it can't be easily photoshopped out or removed. Yeah. But it basically states the artist's name or their logo, or.
And if it's really small, right? In the corner, it's super easy to be cropped out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Deep sigh.
So again, I do understand the reticence of hyper engaging online with your artist presence or with your social media, because it's taxing. It takes away from you making art, but it is also key to you being discovered, because as we've talked about in previous episodes, this is not the 70s anymore where you just throw up a gallery.
Yeah.
And you're an artist.
You can do that, but it's not.
You can still do that, but you're not where people are is online.
Yeah.
And that means you kind of have to be too. And Justin, you're online. Like it's not like you have no.
And I guess this is an age-old retail motto, right? Location, location, location. You have to go where the people are. Wherever the traffic is, that's where you should be. And so if you, dear listener, are lamenting that people just aren't finding you or respecting you in the online space that you've chosen, it could be that you just haven't been there long enough, that you don't have the cred, that the old guard, such as it were, the people who've been there a long time have most of the eyeballs, and then you just have to hang in there for the long term. Or it could be that you're in the wrong space,
don't put all your eggs in that one basket.
Yeah. And it can be labor intensive to build up a bunch of different social media presences, but I watch, it takes Justin, like I said, 5, maybe 10 minutes tops to share that work after he's spent 9 or 10 hours working on a piece. That extra 10 minutes to share with the world. Number one is I think brave. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not usually ready when I'm finished to immediately let the world see it, but you just have no fear. You're just yep, it's done. Here you are, world.
Well, that's kind of who I did it for.
I feel like that's amazing. And maybe that's the difference. Maybe I'm selfish with who my art is for. Deep, ponderous.
Yeah, and I'm kind of new to this because I threw art away 10 years ago, and now I'm getting back into it.
You started a webcomic.
Yeah,
I did.
That's for everyone.
Yeah, I'm on page 30.
What? I'm behind. I'm only up to 20 maybe of your story.
But yeah, I'm also I'm really excited about it, but I'm only in pencils, so I'll share some pencils, or I'll just share some layouts, or I'll talk about where I am or what I'm learning as I'm going along, and I'm finding I'm actually getting a lot of engagement.
And you're learning as you go, just sharing. For the dear listener who is maybe this is their first episode, what's the name of your webcomic that they could check out?
It is called Krampus is My Boyfriend. It's basically I didn't know how to make comics. I always wanted to make one. I kind of came up with this idea at Icon in July, and I thumbnailed a ton of pages while I was just sitting at my table. And so I just kind of jumped into it, and I launched it on Krampus night on December 5th. And I've been updating.
Location.
I've been updating 2 to 3 pages a week. And I'm just putting it online.
Yeah.
I'm just it's just a webcomic right now. It's for free. And basically I'm aiming, because I'm going to be a guest at Calgary Comic Expo, to have like an intro issue, like a double issue available for people to buy. But keeping up with this webcomic schedule has forced me to stay up on just the production schedule.
Right.
So that's been fun, but I've been a comics editor, but I haven't made comics, and it's transformed my point of view in terms of visual storytelling and pacing and economy and my own process. And as I'm learning those things, I talk about that on social media because I'm chiefly a prose fiction writer, and it's a much different platform. You have to say so much more with so much less. You really have to not clog up your pages. And the way and the style that I'm doing it, because it's a webcomic, it's like every page for me has to be an encapsulated, this starts and then this is the end of the page, even though I know that on the page turn. Right. Yeah, it's just all these things are going on in my head, but I go to social media to talk about it because there are other webcomic artists out there who are just starting, and I love seeing what they're doing and sharing how I'm doing it and learning from them too.
And in a way, this is the reverse of the discussion we started with, which is like, if you have a platform, what should you do? This is like, if you're just starting out, how you can use social media to grow that knowledge, share your, the misadventures.
And it's a great community on Twitter, at least for for indie artists and comic artists, and everyone's always has each other's backs, and it's just a nice, friendly place to be, and it also makes me feel like I'm not in the void because making a comic in isolation, and a comic that not very many people know about because I literally started it 2 months ago. And I'm not known as a comic maker, it does make me feel better to kind of be like, there are others out there just working for fun.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
And now that you're posting pages, and have you noticed a change in your followers' reactions or gaining followers, or like just before you were just posting words and now you're posting images?
I also do post a lot of images as well.
Right.
I try to make sure that there is like something to go with whatever I'm talking about, unless it's like a long threaded rant. And again, this is mostly Twitter. So I mostly focus on Twitter to just deal with my, for my art, for my writing, and for my reader fan base. That's where I am. I'm on Twitter. But as far as like, have I gotten more followers or fewer? It hasn't really changed, but I am interacting more and talking to more people than I was maybe before, just for the writing stuff.
Yeah, right. And I guess that's the like fulcrum here is like, if you're wanting social media because you're hungry for fame, right? If you don't want to be deceived, know what you are hungry for, I think is the idea here, right? So if you want to be famous and that's why you're on social media, it's probably not going to work. And if you do want it to work, there's a lot of compromises you have to make with your integrity to get that sudden rush of followers. But if what you're looking for is 8, 10, 12, 20 people who are also trying to solve the same problems that you are, who are not geographically located nearby, the internet's amazing for that,
Also, as a freelance contractor, when you're like either working from home or like in a studio, and you don't get to see a ton of people, that's where a lot of those people are hanging out as well. Social
that's
media,
true.
Your digital water cooler is basically what social media can become. And if it does, then again, it shows that by interacting and sharing other people's stuff, that you're actually more interested in community building.
Right.
And then, from that community, you will generate more attention towards your work because you're seen as a human.
Now, in recent years for me, social media, like friends that I've made in other cities or on social media, I've been noticing a transition from like out of the public space into the private space. So like once you get to know a person well enough, eventually you trade actual contact information. Like they have my actual phone number, and now we're texting. Like conversations there are certain conversations that you're willing to have in public. And there are certain conversations once you become a good friend of somebody that you probably don't want to have in public. And that's also I think a natural progression. At least I've been seeing that. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
Does that happen to you? Or are these just trolls that are secretly after my credit card information?
Well,
A couple of them at least.
Yeah, a couple.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that number again, if you want to text Gregory, is 204.
Oh no! Don't give him the actual area code.
Oh, well, don't let them know that was the actual area code.
For me, social media also can be, I don't know. Again, I think I've mentioned this a couple times. It's a bit different being a lady on social media. I do get a lot of creepy
Yeah, my wife
DMs.
is on social media. It is so different.
So yeah, I get a lot of creepy direct messages.
Yeah. Dudes or anyone pretending to be dudes on social media. Stop that.
We're so tired. Just we're not gonna answer. Like, why are you trying? Like, why?
It's the new whistling from a car driving by.
I know.
That's totally
it's
what
just-
it is.
It's so easy though.
And I'm just my face is in my palm, dear listeners. And I'm just so haggard with the way in which people are able to be just utter monsters.
And again, I mean, that kind of circles back to that's why you don't want to overshare, because you really do have to set some limits on your time and who you are, and how people can access you. Because building your brand online is integral to building that community around what you do, but also you have to have boundaries. You can't, because you can get very easily lost in getting attention, getting followers, getting likes.
And where are you spending your time, right? I did this big post a couple years back about apologizing to all the people who were commenting and and sending me messages and stuff, and I wasn't replying to over half of it. And so I did this big post about saying I'm sorry for not being more responsive and blah blah blah. And somebody wrote back this really nice long reply about the people who actually are here and care about your art shouldn't care about that. You should be spending your time making new art and not being stressed about replying to every single thing that's coming your way, because when it hits a certain threshold, it becomes a chore that can take a couple hours out of your day if you're actually wanting to interact with all these people.
And depending on how big your fan base is, then they become entitled to your time.
Yeah.
Why aren't you responding? We deserve it. We've earned it.
Yeah. I forget who it was that I saw. There was, it was from the early days of Twitter, and it might have been, I don't know, it was someone in the sphere of the William Shatners of the world. They have a huge following.
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands, millions really of followers on social media. And they were just saying somebody was commenting why don't you ever answer me? I see you're answering other people. Why don't you ever answer me, right? Which is a little bit aggressive, I think, on social media. Don't do that. But their response was simply, I answered 10 people a day.
Oh.
When I had 500 followers, I answered 10 people a day. Now that I have 8 million followers, I still answer 10 people a day. I'm sorry that you're not one of those 10, but I only have so much time in the day to devote to social media. I have a schedule that I stick to, and in order for me to make the work that you're here to see, I cannot engage. Imagine if I engaged with even 1% of these 8 million followers. That would be my full-time job. And that has always stuck with me. It's just set your limits and stick to them, I guess. So, interesting.
I just want to point out, because I looked up at the beginning of this episode, we talked about the most listened to episode of the podcast, and it actually is one that I was on.
Oh, damn.
In which we discussed your climbing of public art installations that you talked about earlier.
I alluded to.
That is the most listened to episode of this podcast. So people really loved that story about you climbing on.
So I should
sculptures.
tell more stories of public. What would that be?
Miscreancy.
Mischief. Public mischief. Isn't that not an actual charge?
Sure. Yeah.
It is a charge.
It is.
You know a public mischief story that I can tell that is the statute of limitation is long gone? When I was in high school, my friend and I took his father's car. His father was getting divorced. He was very angry at him. And I was not listening very well to what the inner me. And we found some saws in an old shed.
Saws.
Yeah, this is going somewhere. And then we found some flagpoles that we cut down with these saws. And then we found another person who also owned a vehicle, and with garbage can lids and these flagpoles, we jousted with cars in our high school misspent youth. So it's great because it's from a time when this is just hearsay. There's no video evidence of this. There's no picture evidence of this. I could be making this up. There's no way to prove that we did this on the open road.
But if you did have video of that now, it would totally go viral.
I know, but
people would love to see that kind of thing.
Sure, but do I want to be known for that?
Yes.
And this swings actually around to something I was going to say. There's some people we know who use social media, share a ton, like stuff that I feel is very personal, but they scrub it. Like every year, they have all of their previous year's posts removed.
And see, when I think of, like, I think of it kind of like a diary as well, more of a portfolio. Like, I like seeing the artwork that I was doing, but not necessarily the personal stuff as much. So scrubbing it is never something I've ever considered,
right,
because it's my art portfolio.
Yeah, and I'm wanting to leave that record, so it changes what I put there because I want it to be a record.
And that's apparently a more common trait of like younger kids on social media, that they are constantly deleting older things.
Right, which I think is probably good advice. Like if I had a phone during any of that story, or that's just one of many stories in that time of my life, I would have records of it all, and there's no way that an employer or anyone that wanted to treat me in a professional or see me in a professional way would see that and say, good hire.
Yes. It's because a lot of what you record or you save and then you post on a social media is because you're proud of that thing that you did.
Right.
And you're just like, I want to share it. So people will give me praise about it. Yeah. And 10 years later, 20 years later, after you've jousted in this car, you're like, I'm no longer really necessarily proud of that.
I cannot believe, honestly, that we lived through the experience. In retrospect, like I think of my own kids pulling that off. Oh my goodness.
I mean, I was pretty proud when we broke into that church.
We just did that not long ago. We didn't break in. It was already broke in, and then we went in.
Climbing on the roof. There is photographic evidence on social media. Yeah.
It's a new morning in America. Fresh, vital. The old cynicism is gone. We have faith in our leaders. We're optimistic as to what becomes of it all.
Do you guys remember Elfwood?
No.
Elfwood was like pre-DeviantArt. It was like where you went to post your pictures.
Okay.
And I had an Elfwood account.
You just remembered now?
I just because this was
I had a
like
MySpace
2003, 2004.
Mm-hmm.
I was like in high school posting stuff.
So did it still exist? Is that
I'm
still
gonna
a
look
thing?
it up. Yeah.
Whoa. Check out Chasing Artwork.
It was definitely not. I was not
What
chasing
would
artwork.
it been? What would like your online?
I don't know if I
handle?
had like a handle of some kind. That's right. Yeah.
You would have just been.
It's like Pookie451.
Yeah.
Check out my MySpace. My Angel Fire.
Look at my listen to my good MIDI files.
Farmboy 392716.
Whoa.
There's a lot of farm boys on the
There's
internet.
a lot of farm boys on the internet.
Oh. But yes, the legacies that we leave online. I had a DeviantArt from 2003 onwards, and I recently went back and reactivated it and deleted like a swath of things in there because I was just like, ugh.
I still find DeviantArt to be one of the best places for photo reference.
Yeah.
Like if you need full body stock reference for stuff, there's people uploading literally thousands of stock photos every day.
You like ArtStation for that.
ArtStation is where I go when I want to be embarrassed about my skill set.
Oh,
it's
because
everybody's super pro on and Behance as well. All the illustration on ArtStation and Behance is the stuff I aspire to these days. I find Pinterest is where I go to kind of fall down the rabbit hole of ideas and
their algorithm is
stuff.
good if you're looking for, if you want an old diving helmet reference, right?
Yeah.
You can find it just branches and tumbles and rolls, and you find all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's interesting. Huh. So we have reached no conclusion about what are responsibilities on social media.
What are some things, okay, I have, after this discussion, I was thinking I need to at least be posting a couple weeks before the conventions, all the conventions I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to add that to my list of things to do, is to get those posts pre-made so I'm not scrambling to do them last minute. So I can let people know what cities I'll be in and when I'll be there.
I'm going to start sharing more of my process. I feel like I do, but I see in retrospect that I tell everyone that I do more than I actually do. Like, go to my social media and you'll see all my process. I realize I withhold a lot of process.
And when you said, like, oh, you only reach 7% of people, whatever, with the algorithm, if you continually post process and you're building up towards that finished product that you're going to post eventually, then you've maybe caught more people in your net. to be like, oh, excited about that book that's
You know
coming
what's
out.
frustrating though? Every once in a while, you'll get more views on your process than the finished piece. People love seeing like the middle part, the sausage getting made, but they don't care about the sausage as much.
Unfortunately, there's no way to predict that, Justin.
No, there's
so
not.
you're just going to have to keep working.
Just keep working at it. What also I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to use, I have an Imager account, but I barely use it. I think I'll just start getting into the regular habit of sharing stuff for other people's sake.
And
right?
yeah,
And
like
just,
here's
who
a
cares
big
what it's going to lead to
gallery
just for
of
them.
this guy.
Yeah. Interesting. What are you going to do, Sam? What will be your indicators of success?
I just want to keep interacting more with the community and not posting as many things about moi.
Oh, interesting.
I want to share more of other people's art. So like I do a lot of
less small talk and more like
big talk. I've been really into retweeting a ton of just like, indie art stuff. So just doing that,
The visible woman hashtag PS.
Yeah.
If you want to get you want to have yourself crushed, you think you're so good? Oh my God.
Yeah,
Fall down that.
So that
fall down
recently
that
happened on
hashtag.
February 18th.
Holy moly.
And a lot of people hire based on that hashtag.
Yeah.
So
and
that's
they should,
another.
'cause
Wait, sorry,
it's
what?
incredible.
What's all this?
So this is on Twitter. It's a
Okay.
hashtag called Visible Women.
That's why I
and
don't know about it. Twitter. I stay away from Twitter. Anyways.
Well, you focus on Instagram and you do really
Do what
well
you're good
there.
at.
So, but anyway, it's a hashtag that appears on February 18th, and it's female writers, creators, and they just kind of post a cluster of like portfolio like images of like if they've written books or they've worked on comics.
Cool.
And it's very short and sweet. You say what your name is, what you do, and you just kind of list those. And the people like publishers or clients will go through that hashtag and save. It's like a day of posting your mini resume on Twitter
I like
as
it.
women, people of color, gender nonconforming.
The network of the old boys club, which exists, we just can't deny it exists, is how a lot of work happens. And the best way to know that or to fight against that is to know that there are other places where you can look for that, So this is instead of the old boys club, it's like a new women's club. It's like, here's a bunch of stuff that you probably should have known about, but people weren't mentioning it, and here's a place to find it. And when you're talking about I probably spent 2 hours just looking at people's work and totally being exposed to writing I didn't know existed, to art I didn't know existed, to stuff that just made me realize I had to work way harder because there's some incredible work out there.
Actually, that I don't know how much time we have left, but that's another tangent that I've been thinking about lately is how much you follow and if you're kind of overwhelming yourself with the amount that you've shoved into your feed.
That it just completely paralyzes you.
Right.
From
And
growing.
if you should curate that a bit, but who do you stop following, right? There's so many amazing artists that I'm following now, and I feel like I'm almost watching too much. There's just too much input.
So on that note, what I try to do every now and then I go through and I look at who I'm following, and I try to separate it the same way I try to separate just sort of my work week is people that I admire, people that I feel like are roughly my equivalent, and then people who I feel like I could mentor. I try to follow those from those arenas also on social media. So people who are just starting out, people who are kind of in the same place that I am, and people who are way beyond me. And then it kind of
And then
keeps me moving.
ex-girlfriends and people you hate that you keep tabs on.
Yeah, no, not so much. But
oh no, now Justin's oversharing on the podcast.
yeah, right? Because our criticisms of others are secretly our criticisms of ourselves, Justin. Well, this has been Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made.
Sometimes we do.
Sometimes we talk about how social media posts get made. But today we talked about how Krampus is My Boyfriend got made. So I encourage all of you to join the fight and make comics.